Alright, thanks again. Welcome yet again to my little dragon's lair, my little studio in the corner of Avendia. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to continue reading out of Convergence, Book 1 of the Dragon Within Saga, that is available on Love and Light's Productions website. The link will be in the comments below if you want to check it out. And we're just going to start what's considered the third and most prominent episode in this young boy's life, allowing him to be molded into what he was always meant to be. So here we go. Though in the time after the terrible night he actively sought isolation from all people, he could do so only temporarily, because there exists a condition of humanity dependent upon our interaction with others. We need acceptance, and acceptance can be developed only when isolation is broken. But so strong was his determination to remain solid in his conclusion that he must remain alone, he did not find this acceptance from another person. Most of his days were now spent, when not doing the owner's bidding, by taking long walks through the same path of town and surrounding landscape. On these walks he would always pass by the shop where he had first met the puppy, and first followed his now crippled friend. As time progressed, though his stature remained small and sickly thin, the puppy had grown into a robust and healthy specimen. On each occasion, he had wanted to stop and engage the puppy, now fully grown, and return to what he had momentarily felt. But that time had ended in the only conclusion possible, and not wanting to create another damaged vessel from the wrath of the beast, he subdued his desire to connect and walked past. With each passing glance, he felt the blood of hope fueling his heart of desire to become what he was not, slowly leaking out from the still open wounds of his past. Day after day, week after week, month after month, he would walk past this shop of hope and redemption until there was no hope left. When the air reflected the chill within the substance of his being, he stopped glancing. During this time, the beast left him largely alone, not because of any sentiment emanating from that which no sentiment could, but because he, the boy, did nothing to warrant a response. Hence, the beast believed him to be broken, and once something was broken, it lost his interest. Like the beast, but for not the same reasons, the other children left him largely alone as well. But it was not always like this. In the beginning, weeks following his momentary but momentous physical defiance, the children, especially those younger than he, actively sought out his inclusion in everything they did. Yet after repeated denials, the children learned not to ask. We do not run toward that which we perceive as negatively inevitable. All the while his need for acceptance was mounting, a growing demand of isolation was still held behind the constant in his twisted equation of life. Such as this was, he continued with his downtrodden walks reflected by the sinking resignation of both his posture and his lack of surrounding awareness. Jolted out of this malaise by the sound of a distinctly animalistic bark, he veered from his normally declined head and looked up. Standing in front of him, with its head slightly tilted to the side as if expecting a response in kind, was the dog. After a short and involuntary pause, he tried to walk around it, but the dog would not allow him passage. As if it knew which way he was going to attempt his evasive steps, it would step in the same direction. However, it did so not in a guarding fashion as if preventing passage would fulfill the training and subsequent instruction of its owner, rather in a manner suggesting play. This dance of avoidance and its resulting failure continued a few times until the boy spoke, a rarity indeed, in short, hushed tones. "Go on, get!" To which the dog just stopped and inclined his head slightly to the side, this time accompanied by a slight wagging of its tail. "What? Do not look at me like that, you stupid dog," he said in hushed tones. Again, the only response from the persistent animal was the increasingly familiar head tilt and tail wag. "Can you just leave me alone?" said the boy with increased exasperation. He tried to bypass the animal again, this time by faking to the right and spinning to the left. In a grossly inadequate approximation of his terrain during the spinning portion of his planned evasion, the boy failed to see a carriage rut and stepped squarely in its center. The resulting rolling of his ankle combined with his already underdeveloped physicality produced 3 additional off-balance steps ending in a spread eagle on the ground. Though physically unharmed, he was still injured. "Stupid dog! Why can you not just leave me alone like everyone else?" He shouted in no particular direction. When he found the animal with his stare, it was again mimicking the perplexed expression of a slight head tilt. The boy, pausing for a moment, began to truly look at the dog. Standing quietly but firmly, the dog possessed both poise and strength. He could see the musculature beneath the short, all-black fur. While he was unwillingly seated on the ground, the dog's head topped his. Its coat of fur possessed a faint sheen to it and was reflecting part of the day's light. Aside from the physical attributes, it seemed to radiate an inward innocence and peace. As if, being what it was, a simple dog, was utterly enough for it to progress through its life without a single complaint regarding its placement within. And quite clearly, this dog was not to be denied. "Fine," he said as he mounted his feet. "You can come, but I'm not doing anything fun. I'm only walking around." And with this invitation, the dog broke its stoic stance and fully wagged its tail. That day they walked, they ran, they played, they bonded, and he began to allow another attachment to form. This sequence of events continued for a short time until the weather broke, allowing the days to progress later and later before being forced to return to their respective homes by nightfall. Each time the two met and parted, and in no small portion because of fear, he would try to hide his companionship with the dog. Believing he was successful, and he felt a lull set in their actions, the way a slow, melodic rhythm from one of the traveling bards might produce a lull in the night's conversation between two old friends who need not speak to communicate. Within his dark meditation, he felt his awe and wonderment at his master's flawless planning take hold of his focus. How delicious was his progression at the whim and will of his dark lord. All things in his childhood had led to this exact moment in time. The memory to end all memories of his time at the orphanage was quickly being recalled to crystal clear remembrance. To fully appreciate what transpired next, he allowed himself to access part of his power in an effort to exponentially increase each and every detail. Once satisfied with the influx of energy, he deepened his trance-like state and became completely consumed. Alright, we're going to end right there because we're going to pick up next time to find out what exactly happened to this boy in reference to the dog that solidified his path toward darkness. Thanks again for tuning in and reading. I appreciate it. Love that you do. Please, if you like this, like the video, share the video if you want, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to keep reading whether you do or don't, but I'd love it if you would. And thanks again for enjoying it. And take care, and remember, always release your dragon within. Have a great day. Thanks again.